Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. My name is Uche. On today's video, I'll be putting you through on how I achieved this beautiful gown on your screen. If this sounds like what you're interested in, please keep on watching. And if today is your first time of coming across my video, please kindly subscribe to my channel, like, share and comment. And to all my returning subscribers, I love you all. So to make this dress, you can use any fabric of your choice, but as for me, I made use of 3 yards of crepe fabric. So let's get right into today's video. I achieved this dress by using 3 yards of crepe fabric and 1 yard of chantilly lace. I will start by rolling out a starting line, and on that starting line, I will divide my shoulder measurement by 2. I'll also mark out my neck width, 3.5 inches. I will come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope and I'll connect it to the neckline like so. From my shoulder slope, I will come down to my chest line. I'll connect the points together. I will also roll it across. Placing my tape on my starting line, I'll mark out my bust point 10 inches, my under bust 13.5 inches, my waistline 16 inches, and my hip line 25 inches, and I'll roll them across. So these are the points I need to make this dress. I'll come down by 1 inch for my back neck depth, and I'll connect it to my neck width like so. On my chest line, I will divide my bust measurement by 4 and I'll mark it out. On my waistline, I'll also divide my waist by 4 and I'll mark it out. I'll go ahead to connect the points. So from my waistline, I'll connect it to meet my hip line. I'll use my ruler to slant it to meet my hip line. So if you don't understand what I'm saying, watch what I just did. And after that, from my shoulder slope to my chest line, I'll mark out the midpoint. And from that midpoint, I will go inward by 1/2 inch. I'll go ahead to curve out my armhole. I'll cut it out. So to cut out my back piece, I folded my fabric into two and I'll mark out 1.5 inches for my zipper allowance. After marking it out, I'll connect the points. I'll be extending my waistline to meet my fabric like so. I'll extend my waistline to meet my fabric and from there I'll go inward by 1/2 inch. I'll connect it downward. I'll also connect it upward. So this will help eliminate zipper bulge on our dress after making it. And after that, on the sides, I'll add 2 inches for my stitching allowance. I'll also extend my waistline. I'll add 1/2 inch on the down part for joining allowance. I'll add 1/2 inch on the armhole, 1/2 inch on the neckline, and also on the shoulder 1/2 inch. I'll go ahead to cut this out. To draft out the front pattern, I'll extend my chest line to meet the center of my pattern. Just watch what I'm doing. After extending it from my chest line, I'll be going up by 1.5 inches. So you can choose to go up by 2 inches, by 1 inches. It totally depends on you. And from that 1.5 inches I went up by, I'll go in by 1/2 inch. And I'll go to connect it to the under bust. But before I do that, I'll mark out half of my nipple to nipple measurement. I'll go ahead to use my curve rule to connect the 2 points together. So if you don't understand what I'm saying, just watch what I'm doing right now. And after that, I'll also go ahead to extend that 1.5 inches I went up by from my chest line in order to get our second cup. And after extending it, from the armhole, I'll go inward by 1 inch. And I will use my curve rule to connect it to meet the second cup. So watch what I'm doing. After connecting it, I blend it in. And from there, from that 1 inch I came in by, I will connect it to meet my neckline like so. So I'll go ahead to cut it out. So I'll cut out my yoke and I'll cut out my cup area as well. So after that, I'm going to be slashing and spreading my cup, and to do so, I'll mark out 3 lines on my cup. So this will help me to slash and spread my cup. And after that, I brought out a fresh pattern paper. I also went ahead to label my cup and I'll slash them open. So what I did next was to rule out a starting line which will serve as my guideline, and I placed my first pattern on it. I'll give it a 1 inch space and I'll place the second one. I'll also go ahead to pin it down. I'll also give it a 1 inch space. I'll place the third one. I'll also pin it down. I'll also do the same thing for the fourth one. I'll space it by 1 inch and I'll also go ahead to pin it down. So I'll use my marker to connect the down part like so. I'll cut it out. I folded another fabric and I'll place all my patterns on it. I'll go ahead to remove the slashed papers on my cup because they are no longer needed. So I'll set them aside and I'm also gonna ahead to pin it down. So on the cup side, I'm adding 1/2 inch for our joining allowance. On the up part, I'll add 1/2 inch as well. On the sides, I'll add 2 inches for my stitching allowance. I'll also extend my waistline. And on the down part, I'll add 1/2 inch. On the armhole, 1/2 inch, and I'll go ahead to cut it out. After cutting it out, I'll keep it aside. And to cut out my cup, I'll add 2 inches on the upper part. This will enable us create our elastic channel. And on the down part, I'll be adding 1/2 inch for joining allowance. After that, I'll proceed to cut it out. And for my yoke, I'll be adding 1/2 inch on all sides as I cut it out. After cutting it out, I'll keep it aside. I went ahead to fold my net fabric into two. So I will be tracing my cup and my front yoke on it. I'll go ahead to trace it out. After that, these are my cups and I'll place the net on top of it. So what I'll do next is to stitch them together. Moving to my yoke, I also cut out lining pieces for my yoke. So I place my lace fabric on top of it and I'll use my lining piece to cover it up like so. And I'll be stitching only the front side, so I'm going ahead to mark it out. Like I said, I'll be stitching only the side facing the front. And I'll do the same thing for the other side. I'll also mark out where I'll be stitching. I'll do that and I'll be back. So guys, I'm gonna have to turn the front side of my yoke. So this is it. And I also did the same thing for the other side. I'll keep it aside. And for the cup, I'm going to be creating an elastic channel. So to do that, I'll fold the upper part by 3/4 inch 2 times and I'll stitch it down. So this is where I'll be inserting my elastic. And I'll also do the same thing for the other side. So after that, this is what I have. I'll keep it aside and I'll be attaching my yoke to my front piece like so, making sure I leave 1/2 inch for joining the cup. And for that center part, I'm going to be folding it inward by 1/4 inch twice and I'll pin it down. So I'll go over to my sewing machine, I'll stitch it and I'll also sew my yoke down. After sewing it, this is what I have. As you can see, I left 1/2 inch for joining my cup. What I'll do next is to measure the distance I have on my cup area. So watch what I'm doing. So whatever I get, I'll minus 1 inch from it and I'll use it to cut out my elastic. So I'll be cutting out two for the both cups. After cutting it out, I will insert it on that elastic channel I created earlier, and when I get to one end, I will use my pin to hold it down. I'll continue inserting it till I get to the other end. So when I get to the other end as well, I'll use my pin to secure it. So this is what I have after that, and I'll go ahead to pin it to my cup. So don't forget that ½ inch I added when I was joining my yoke. I will start pinning it from that point. And when I get close to the down part of the cup, I'll flip it to the other side and I'll also start pinning it. And when I also get close to the down part, I'll stop pinning it. After that, I'll open it up so you can see. You can see what I have on that cup area. I'll be pleating it on the little space I have on that down part. You can as well choose to gather it first before attaching it. But for me, I choose to pleat it down. I'll go ahead to pin it down. Just take your time to pin it down. It's not quite hard. I'll keep pinning it, and after pinning it, I'll show you what it looks like. After pinning it down, I will head over to my sewing machine and I'll stitch it by ½ inch. I'll repeat the same thing for the other side. So guys, this is what I have. This is looking so pretty already. So what I will do is to cut out the down part of this dress. And to do that, I'll measure what I have on that down part. I'll first of all mark out the stitching allowance I added for this dress. And I'll go ahead to measure what I have on that down part. After measuring one side, I'll turn it to the other side. Anything I get after measuring it, I'll be cutting it times 2. So for the front part, I'll be cutting what I measured on the back part times 2. And to get the length of my gown, I'm going to be minusing my half length. I place my tape on my shoulder and what I got there is 17 inches. So I'll minus ½ inch for joining the down part and ½ inch for joining it on the shoulder. I'll be left with 16 inches. I will minus the 16 inches from my total gown length, which is 40 inches. So when I minus it, whatever I get, I will use it to cut out the down part. I've gone ahead to cut out the down part. Another thing I did was to run a gather stitch on top of it. And I'll gather it to the end. So I'll keep gathering it till I get to the end. After gathering it, I will show you what it looks like. After gathering it, this is what I have. So I'll be attaching it on the front part like so. And I also did the same thing for the back. I'll go ahead to attach the front and I'll also do the same thing for the back side. So like I explained earlier, I've gone ahead to attach my gathers to my front piece and I also did the same thing for the back piece. So for the back piece, I slitted the gathers into two and I shaded it between the two back piece. So what I'll do next is to join my shoulders together. I'll turn it right side facing right side. For the front yoke, I'll open it up like so. I will match the front shoulder to the back shoulder, right side facing right side. So you see what I'm doing? I open up the lining, I match the front shoulder and the back shoulder like so. And I'll use the lining piece of the front to cover everything up. I'll also go ahead to pin it down. After pinning it down, I'll stitch it by ½ inch. And for the other side as well, I'll open the lining piece and I'll place the front and the back shoulder together, I'll also go ahead to cover it up with my lining. After stitching it down, you can see what I have. This is the wrong side. You will notice that our stitches are hidden inside. So I did the same thing for the both shoulders. Another thing I did was to stitch my broke back piece together with the allowance I gave to my zipper. So what I'll do next is to turn the front and the back, right side facing right side like so. I'll go ahead to shape my dress with the allowance I added when I was cutting my fabric. To cut my sleeve, I folded my lace fabric in four. On the open part, I'll come down by 4 inches. And I'll go ahead to curve out my sleeve cap. I'll divide my round armhole measurement plus 1 inch for stitching allowance, and on the down part, I measured my wrist. I'll mark it out plus 1 inch for stitching allowance. And I'll go ahead to connect it. I'll cut this out. After cutting it out, this is what I have for both the front and the back. So what I will do next is to fold it into two and I will stitch it down. After stitching it down, I'll attach it to my armhole. Now I will be back. Welcome back guys. I'm going to do that. I also went ahead to attach my zipper to the back piece. Another thing I did was to make a cover button. So I made 5 of it. I think this 5 is enough for me. I will use my needle and thread to attach it, and when I'm attaching it, I'll make sure I centralize it on the front piece. I'll also hem the down part of my dress. So guys, I also went ahead to attach this rope. It is totally optional. So this brings us to the end of this video. Please subscribe to my channel till I see you on the next one. Bye.